A friend asked me this question, and I feel like I need to share it and see in case some persons are also concerned about it. It's about why Catholics cover images during Lent. Today we had our Palm Sunday and all of that. I'll take time to see what I can break down. I'm not very good with making videos, but I will try my best with this one. And I'll also try as much as possible to be quick. Catholics cover images such as statues, crucifixes, and icons during the final part of Lent, especially beginning of the 5th Sunday of Lent. This period is often called Passion Sunday. We popularly call it Palm Sunday. It leads us to the Holy Week, and this practice is known as veiling, and this is why we do it. Probably in my next video, because these are short videos. I'm so sorry. In my next video, let me explain why it's done. I'll give you 5 reasons why it is done. Number 1 reason is to intensify the sense of mourning. Number 2 is to focus attention to the Passion. Number 3 is it's a kind of a symbolic fast for the eyes. And number 4, to build anticipation for Easter. And number 5 is its historical roots. So if we get to what I said about number 1, which is to intensify the sense of mourning, as the church prepares to remember the suffering and death of Jesus Christ, the visual beauty of churches is deliberately reduced. Covering sacred images, creates a more sober reflection, stripped down environment that reflects grief and seriousness. So when we make this covering, it draws us back to a sense of that we are mourning, we tend to be serious within and switch ourselves to the mood of the event. Then the number 2 is to focus attention on the Passion. With statues and images hidden, the focus shifts more strongly to the events of Christ's suffering, that's the Passion, which are central during this time. So in my next video, I'll make the last 3. The 3rd reason that I noted down is a symbolic fast for the eyes. Just like fasting from food during Lent, this is sometimes described as fasting from visual richness. The absence makes their return at Easter more powerful and meaningful. When you no longer, that thing you usually admire when you come to the church, and all of a sudden you're no longer seeing it, the eagerness to see it again makes you yearn for Easter. And number 4 is to build anticipation for Easter. When the coverings are removed, typically before the Easter Vigil, it creates a dramatic and joyful contrast, symbolizing Christ's victory over death. So because these things will be revealed at the time of Easter, about during the Easter Vigil, the drama within that scenarios makes the Easter celebration make more sense. You can feel the joy of Christ rising from the dead. And number 5, the historical roots. The practice dates back centuries in Europe, where large clothes, sometimes called hunger clothes, would cover the altar and images during this period. So you can trace its hermeneutics back then with its whole phenomenology. So overall, we can say that the whole thing about covering statues and all of that is about creating a deeper emotional and spiritual experience, moving from solemn reflection during Holy Week to joy that comes at Easter. But one would now ask why the crucifix is uncovered earlier, even before Easter. You notice that at Good Friday, at some point, we uncover the crucifix, but the crucifix alone. During the liturgy of Good Friday, the crucifix, a cross with the figure of Jesus Christ, is solemnly unveiled in a special ritual called the veneration of the cross. And let me explain what's going on. Number one, a dramatic reveal of the cross is what is going on. The priest gradually uncovers the crucifix, often in stages, while proclaiming something like, "Behold the wood of the cross on which hung the salvation of the world." And the people will genuflect, in reverence to Christ. This builds a powerful moment of focus on Christ's sacrifice. It's usually one of the biggest events on Good Friday. Let me proceed. Again, the cross becomes the central focus. On Good Friday, everything centers on the crucifix. It's brought forward. The faithful may venerate it when they bring it forward to the altar through either a bow, touch, or kiss, whichever way, depends on what fits within a particular cultural milieu. So it replaces all other visual devotions. So while statues remain covered, the crucifix is revealed because the passion reaches its climax. We talk about the cross, the crucifixes. And why statues stay covered longer, one would ask, and I would answer to say, other images, saints, Mary, and so on. Mary, the Catholics give Mary what we call a hyperdulia, and other saints will give them dulia, reverences, and but both Mary and the saints and all of that remain veiled until the Easter Vigil, because the church stays in a state of mourning. So the full joy of the resurrection hasn't arrived yet, so the focus remains entirely on Christ's death. That's why. And let me give you at number 4 of it. I'll say I'll call it the big contrast at Easter, when Easter begins. So guys, having explained it to this point, I would like to just talk about maybe a summary of the entire Holy Week. We usually call it, apart from Triduum, the week becomes very holy from Monday till Sunday, but there are also special days that we call Triduum, from Thursday till Sunday, the most 3 holiest days of days, like the days when certain things happen. So I'll just try and make a summary of the entire Holy Week anyways. So this is the flow of the Holy Week. It's designed as a kind of spiritual journey from triumphant entry to suffering and then to resurrection. Starting with Palm Sunday or Passion Sunday, it commemorates Jesus Christ entering Jerusalem. For those of you that may be asking, where is it in the Bible? As I speak, you can go research when Jesus entered Jerusalem. I believe you know. Then people received and carried palm branches. The mood started joyful. People were singing Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David, Hosanna in the highest. But the gospel reading already includes the passion. The reading talks about the suffering and death of Christ. So the key thing to note about the triumphant entry of Jesus is that it's overshadowed by Christ's coming. Like the triumphance is already overshadowed by what is coming, like the suffering. So Jesus was entering, and it's about I'm coming to that same place. I'm gonna be killed. People who received me with joy are also gonna kill me. But some do not understand that this is going to happen, but the moment was still joyful as at today. Then on Monday, being a Holy Monday. In fact, from Monday to Wednesday, these days are quieter but deeply reflective. It focuses on themes like betrayal of Judas Iscariot and preparation. At this point, the gospel often highlights the Judas betrayal, growing tension before Jesus' arrest. So this man can betray this man. And the key idea here is a slow build-up of tension. From the triumphant entry now, a tension is built about, did you say someone's gonna betray you, master? How is that even possible? And the readings would keep highlighting what Judas did, how he did it, and all of that, the lessons learned from it, and all of that. As we keep seeing more of Judas's actions from Monday to Wednesday, on Thursday we call it Maundy Thursday. That is, it marks the Last Supper, the institution of the Eucharist. Those who ask questions like, how and where did the Catholic Church bring about their ideology about celebrating the Holy Mass? It is at this institution of the Holy Eucharist where Jesus broke bread and gave to his disciples and also shared wine and all of that. So Jesus, at this point on Thursday, the institution of the Holy Eucharist, Jesus washes the disciples' feet, which is a symbol of humility and service. So at this day, the altar is stripped at the end of the Mass. After Mass, the Eucharist is moved to a side altar. The church becomes stark and empty. Key idea here is love, service, and the beginning of the Passion. So Jesus on Thursday showed humility after instituting the Eucharist, breaking of bread, giving of his blood in form of wine. He asked them that he want to wash their feet and all of that. All these rituals are being practiced on Thursday. That's why we call it the Maundy Thursday. A few other things I would like to say about Maundy Thursday is that at this point, the priests kind of renews their vow as priests because of the institution of the Eucharist. The oil of chrism, the ointment, the oil for healing of the sick, and all of that being given to these priests to renew their powers and authority to heal and to pray for the sick and to baptize and to do all the rituals they do as priests. So this is more like a renewal of vow for them, a renewal of their strength and power. That is why at that point on this very day it is stipulated that only the bishop celebrates the early sacrifice of the Eucharist. That very day people can go to mass at their cathedrals, but in the evening of that very day you now come home, probably at your parish, to have the same ritual of washing of feet. So you find the bishop doing the same ritual of washing of feet for his priests, while the priests do the same for his parishioners at the parish level. It's a beautiful. This brings us to Good Friday. After this solemn ritual of washing of feet, which symbolizes on Thursday, like I said, the altar is also stripped at the end of the Mass. So after Mass, the Eucharist is moved to a side altar and the church becomes stark and empty. And the key idea here, like I said earlier, is love, service, and the beginning of the Passion. Like it launches us into the main day that Jesus died. So on Good Friday, the most solemn day of the Holy Week, the crucifixion and the death of Jesus Christ, no Mass is celebrated. The Passion is read, the crucifix is unveiled and venerated, communion is given from the previous day, churches are very bare, statues still covered, tabernacles empty. And the key idea here is the mourning and the sacrifice. It's a special day. Like the quietness of this day that comes after the stripping of altar on Thursday is so solemn that places like the seminaries, they don't talk. They call it magna silencia. If you talk, you go home or get punished anyways. That brings us to Holy Saturday. After the death of Jesus, which springs forth and brings the idea of mourning and sacrifice to our reflection, we enter into Holy Saturday, a day of silence and waiting. No mass during the day. The church reflects at the tomb of Christ. And the idea here is, like I said earlier, stillness, grief and anticipation, quietness. People are wondering, so the Messiah is dead. What happened? How is that even possible? People are in fear, reminding you exactly how the disciples felt when Jesus died. And so the stillness, the grief, we are all waiting in the tomb and hanging on tight. No one is praying, no one is talking, no one is discussing, everyone is sober. Oh, Jesus is gone. So Catholics try to reflect this moment. They live it out. They live it literally out. They try to practice it out. And I'll tell you what happens at the vigil of this very day, the night. So this brings us to Easter Vigil, the Saturday night. This is the most important liturgy of the year, leading into Easter. It unfolds in 4 major parts. First, the Catholics celebrate what we call the service of light. A fire is lit outside, the Paschal candle is lit, and the church begins in darkness while gradually fills with lights. Like outside there will be maybe firewoods and fire flames, and the priest will be there. Every church congregation will be all outside, and then a Paschal candle will now be lit from this fire after the priest blesses the fire, and the church begins in darkness while gradually fills with lights. Like outside there will be maybe firewoods and fire flames, and the priest will be there. Every church congregation will be all outside, and then a Paschal candle will now be lit from this fire after the priest blesses the fire, telling the salvation history story of Jesus Christ. And then you enter into the third part, the baptismal liturgy, where new members are baptized. If there are people for confirmation that the priest have received power to confirm, he will confirm them as well. So speaking of Holy Communion and confirmation, as we know, the act of confirmation, this is done to people who have already received their first Holy Communion, accepted into the church, and then can gain confirmation. Oftentimes this is usually acceptable to be done during Easter because the priest have just received his powers, more powers on Holy Thursday, and he can practice this on Easter night. Otherwise, this could be reserved only for the bishop. Moving forward, I've mentioned liturgy of the word, liturgy of the baptismal liturgy. I also mentioned service of the light, where we started before the word, like reading and taking readings and explaining them as homily. And then baptismal liturgy. After that, we enter into Eucharistic liturgy, the first full celebration since Holy Thursday. At this point, you feel the Mass again. The high altar, every Mass server will want to serve Mass at this point because they've missed it for just a few days, but that few days will look like a full year. So the Mass is celebrated in its full, highest level of Mass. So during this time, everything is uncovered. Yeah. So when everything is uncovered at this point, even bells that we haven't rang for a very long time would be rung again. Bells will start ringing again. The atmosphere becomes joyful. And the ideology here is that light has conquered darkness. That's why this celebration begins with a service of light. And this very night gives birth to the morning, of course, because some people would want to delay the ceremony to get to 12 a.m. so that when you shout Happy Easter, it makes more sense. So then on the Sunday proper, what the Latin man will call Sunday Quatare, Easter Sunday, it celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Church is fully decorated. If you have sisters, reverend sisters, this is where their specialty usually come to decorate the church, or altar girls and stuff like that. Music and joy return. The central message here is that death is defeated. So in the big picture, Palm Sunday gives us hope. Thursday, Holy Thursday, love. Friday, Good Friday, sacrifice. Saturday, the waiting, while Sunday is the victory.